welcome everyone. I'm Sergeant First Class Nathan Hutchison. I'm with the Army Entertainment Office. It's OCPA LA, OCPA West. That's the Office of the Chief of Public Affairs. You are watching Joe Talks. This is Joe Talks Presents. And today we have with us Sergeant First Class David Camacho. He is with the eSports team. He is a manager for one of the eSports teams, and he is going to talk about all the great things that the Army is doing digitally and otherwise. So, Sergeant Camacho, please tell us.
Yeah, for sure. So the Army eSports team, I guess, started off of necessity. 2018 was a big year for eSports. We see the growth going on in that program, and we decided why not go with the other demographic we're trying to reach as well, but the gamers. So I started off with the program in 2018. I saw the email that everybody else got inside their enterprise email saying that, hey, are you a gamer? Go ahead and join our Discord community and game with us. And I think I was one of the first 100 people in that Discord. And currently we're now at 15,000 in there, and that includes civilians, veterans, active duty, military, National Guard, and reservists, as well as friends of other branches of service come in and join our Discord and play with us. Within that Discord, we curated a great community, and then we ended up creating teams for competitive games that are out there. So out of necessity, we saw that the Army has passions and hobbies as well. So that's part of our voice inside of Army eSports, is to convey the message that the Army soldiers aren't just 24/7 soldiers. They have their passions as well, and they get leave and they get to compete or play games on their off time. So we saw that, we tapped into that, very leaning forward into it, and it's been very successful for us thus far. Because if you remember back in the days, your deployments, you see NWR doing gaming tournaments, for example, or inter company rivalries in Halo back in the day, for example. So we saw that the passions the soldiers have for gaming, and we build upon that, exponentially. And currently, we built the program at Knox. That's where our headquarters is at. There's currently 20 individuals at Knox, including our operations. And under the operations, this is where my section is. I am the multimedia project manager. So my team takes care of our social media, takes care of our video production, anything forward-facing marketing directives for our Army eSports. My background, for example, is graphic design for the last 15 years, videography, photography for 10 years. And what we did, we saw the internal talent that the soldiers had for this program, and they were hand-selected. So myself, I was hand-selected as one of the first 20 to spearhead this program out of almost 7,000 applicants. My background, I'm actually a 31 Bravo, which is a military policeman. But what we saw inside U.S. Army eSports in our program was the soldiers have drive and passion for this. And why not, tap into those individuals' passions and have them do this full time and reward them for their talents that they have outside of the Army. And that's how I got this individual job, was through my passion of photography and videography and graphic design. We've done some great things in the past 3 years almost this program has been going. We've done great partnerships with individuals within the esports community and the esports space. Currently, Army eSports is partnered with Optic Gaming, which is a pro-level Call of Duty team and organizations. We've done content with those individuals on ground at their headquarters. They come to our headquarters, play online with them on our streams. Individuals like Stone Mountain and Alex Zedra, for example. Alex Zedra is a character inside of Call of Duty, and it just helps us get our brand out there and instill that brand awareness that we have, that we're fighting for to get out in the space of esports. And we have and through all this, we've actually seen the talent that has come from our players. People volunteer in their off time to practice, volunteer in the Discord after hours, after their 9 to 5 jobs. Come in and play, and then play in tournaments. They score really well. Like last week, we had our Call of Duty Warzone team. They went up against 39 other teams of the top influencers and pros on Twitch or on YouTube, and middle of the pack. To a 22nd place out of 40 teams was respectable for our teams, our soldiers who do this on their off time and practice, competing against top pros in that space. So it just shows that we're relevant in this, and we have the passion and drive to succeed in esports and succeed in it. Going back to why the Army esports exists, I guess it came from USREC's necessity to make mission, correct? So they were finding a hard time to talk to the demographic that esports is tailored to, um, the 18 to 35-year-old demographic. So with that initiative, the commanding general of USREC, they did a make mission that year. I think it was 2017. And then 2018, we hit the ground running with esports, doing events that we could get to, partnered events, PAX East, PAX West over in Washington, and then PAX South in San Antonio. And those have been the highest lead generation events for USREC in its existence. And that's a proud hat to hang on our wall, because we see that the passion that we had for this program had definitely showed off in the numbers that we provided for USREC, and saying, hey, these are the numbers we talk to. We engage with the demographic we have to. When I go to events, I talk about gaming first. That's how I connect, because I'm passionate about the gaming space. And when they come in and say, hey, you're in the Army too. Yeah, I'm in the Army. This is what I do in the Army. We'll talk my career. And then, if they're more interested in the Army, then we'll talk about, the other paths that can lead into their enlistment if they know what they want to. Army esports is one of those first soft touches of anybody that's interested in the Army or doesn't know about the Army. We go to every corner of the United States for events. Sometimes you find people that don't know nothing about the Army, never interacted with them. There's no military bases close to them. So we're literally the first thing they see is, hey, these guys are in the Army, they're gamers, and they know the lingo, they know, the space they're in. Like, for example, my background, the Gundams, and I live and breathe the nerd culture. I'm a avid Star Wars fan and costumer, and no one knows that hardly. So it's one of those things that we chose people that are passionate about this space, and have been really successful over the past 3 years doing this, and it's quite enjoyable. And we foresee ourselves going in to the next year doing bigger things as well. I know COVID slowed things down for a lot of people, but we found our niche inside the online space as well to continue our brand exposure and our growth. And it's a very exciting space to be in. It's growing exponentially every year. I mean, almost about to eclipse the NFL, for example, in viewership. You see esports events popping up. NFL's on Twitch now currently. That's a big space to be in. And it just shows that the crossover of esports and conventional sports, and the public's going to that space. That's what I got, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, cool. So what do you think about how does gaming connect to the future of the Army? Right. I mean, there's a lot of things that are moving digitally. Is this a good way to capture people that will have the technical skills for future Army endeavors?
Oh, for sure. I mean, because there's a misconceived notion, I guess, that our Army is trying to convey gaming as real-time warfare, or by the operational Army, which is not at all close to that. What we're seeing is the individuals applying for the program and who play for us and interact with us, they have the technical expertise and ability and agility, through gaming for different tasks in the Army, for example. We see that the gamers have quick reaction times as well, which that conveys a lot of things, different tasks in the Army. Quick reaction times, sound judgment and then being cognitive of what you're doing. If you're playing a game of Call of Duty, you're taking note of where your enemy is, of where your friendly forces are, how much ammo you have left in your magazine. There's a lot of things, a lot of different analytical data in your mind going on at the same time, and that's just a quick reaction that we had to have as well, as gamers, and obviously in the Army for different tasks we have.
Well, you also have in the gaming community, a lot of people are building their own computers. There's a lot of hand-on troubleshooting things that are going on. A lot of technical abilities that are on the outside of the game that you don't really think about, and those I would think would transfer to the Army as well. Is that?
It does, yeah. Like a lot of our players, it's not by design. At Knox, that they're 25 Bravos. Just by chance they got chosen for this program, which is communications and information secure information. But yeah, it translates over very well. We have events we go to, we have to make our own Cat 5 cable. Hey, we have 25 Bravos on ground to make Cat 5 cable. I mean, I built my own PC about 2.5 years ago, and I didn't know anything about building PCs, but definitely the expertise that I built on helped me do that. And the research ability and just the knowledge of at least basic computing build my PC in a day or two. So it's our guys are all avid gamers. They all build their own PCs. We actually started a program with National Guard, for example, with high school eSports league, and they've been going around the country and building PCs for eSports labs for high schools. So that gives them also the hands-on training and just an individual one-on-one building a PC, interacting with somebody, learning together as well. So.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the structure of your organization? Now, you said that you're upwards of, you said 1,500.
15,000 in our Discord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discord.
So.
And,
Yeah. So
and how many of those are active, and then how many people are part of the organization itself?
Okay. So, like, perfect world, right? We will have a battalion full of gamers, right? This Call of Duty platoon, and Fortnite squad, but obviously, the MTO restricts us to that. So we have currently at Nox 22, and that number's going down a little bit due to the MTO and due to the force structure that we had, to 13. So that leaves room for one team at Nox, which is going to end up being Call of Duty, because it's one of our partnerships we have currently with Activision and Call of Duty League. And then operations, which it's essential to have marketing, essential to have social media managers and content in order to convey that message of what we're doing and our brand is doing out there in the field. So, so that's currently our numbers at Nox. Of course, we have a first sergeant commander, and we fall under the mission support battalion, which, if you've seen the mobile exhibits out there at, high school and events and conventions, that's part of them. And we also have our own asset too, which we have a 2-man team for. It's AS10, which is the Army gaming trailer. 8 nice chairs, PCs, play Call of Duty. Any game can be played in there pretty much against each other. It's a very, very fun time in there. That travels around the country as well. We have a team for that. And then we fall under also the Marketing Engagement Brigade, which is the same brigade that the parachute team, Golden Knights, is under, and the same brigade that the Army Marksmanship Unit is under as well. So there's a lineage there. There's also the knowledge of the marketing of the outreaches that should happen. Beside that, so we have our Discord community, which is our large members reside in. So individuals that play on our team that aren't at Nox, because we don't have the manpower to bring them in Nox in that capacity, they play in the Discord server. And right now, currently, our active roster of competitive teams consists of 150 players roughly. So that includes, the main team, the B team, which is our backups and our subs, and everybody that doesn't make the main team. And those are assessed through talent. We scout out, every 6 months we do scouting events and in our Discord, and we see where the talent is. Either someone fell off or got better, or someone got better who wasn't on the main team, and he or she made the main team that quarter, or that 6 months period. And besides that, it's also community games we do. We play other games, not just competitively, and that's 15,000 people in our Discord, currently, which is a really big Discord. We're verified. We're the DoD's only verified Discord server. And one of the fastest growing platforms for DoD, Army eSports social media pages grew exponentially back in 2018, 2019, for the interest of what's going on for everything. And our Discord also exploded pretty much with 15,000 people in it, active duty, reservists, National Guard, like I said. And it just creates a big camaraderie and creates morale boosting, for what we do in the esports. Like, hey, there's new games out this weekend. Boom. In that Discord that weekend, you probably find guys playing that game, interacting with it and exploring the game themselves. It's just it's crazy to think of all the numbers that come through this, because 150 players, for example, they compete, they find their events, and maybe they qualify for a final somewhere, and then they put in for TDY, and then, hey, we're gonna pay your trip to go TDY, go compete in the event. They'll send myself or my media team to go cover the event and for media coverage, and then report back on how we did, and hopefully we go in and do great.
Very cool. And so these people are all across the Army, I guess all across the world, really.
Across the world, across the Army. Like I said, they have their 9-to-5 jobs. Esports is an MOS. Sadly, I wish it was, but it's nominative. So we have MOUs, memorandum of understanding, with a commander saying, hey, this individual made the team for Call of Duty, for example, or Rainbow Six. And, if it's possible, to afford them time to practice with their team at certain times, or, hey, afford them this weekend to go travel on our TDY funding to this event, Yeah.
And do you work with the other organizations, like the marksmanship team and the Golden Knights and stuff like that? And is there
Until recently, yeah. Because they're the same brigade. Obviously, we have influencers that are partner with us, and a lot of times it's not just gaming with us partners. You know, we have different activations with them. Like, you know, hey, let's take one of these influencers and link them up with a marksmanship team and have them go shoot, you know, as well and learn some marksmanship. Like currently, if I use example, Alexandra, she's a big gun enthusiast on Instagram and through Call of Duty, and she goes out there. She's about to go out with a AMU to go shoot guns as well, and then obviously we're gonna throw her out of a good airplane through with APT. You know, it's just those that cohesiveness as well. You know, have her shoot with our guys with esports, and then go jump out of a plane with esports individuals. Kind of that the org kind of gets to itself in a way. You know, we have all those assets at our disposal as well.
Can you run down a list? I mean, and it doesn't have to be extensive, but the games that you cover.
Oh man, it's so competitive games. It boils down to a lot of it is how high can the Army achieve in a game, right? So a lot of these games that we play, there's franchise level teams. Like League of Legends are franchises for Worlds or for the highest you can go. Call of Duty League is franchises. So, but underneath them is subsets of categories they can play in. So like contenders leagues and different online tournaments, and that's the highest we can go. You know, we can't go into collegiate levels because we're not a college, but we definitely have competitors at all levels. Call of Duty is our biggest one. We have a partnership with those, Call of Duty League, League of Legends, Rainbow Six, Apex Legends. Currently, we have a team inside the Global Championship Series competing in that all season. I have my list here pulled up. Overwatch is a really, really big one for us. Those are, I mean, and then recently now Halo's coming out again. So Halo's making a resurgence, and they're starting their series here next month in Raleigh, and we're sending our team out to that event because it's an amateur open type of environment. It's not just franchises for that competitive scene, and we have a chance to competitive chance to actually make it into, you know, really deep run into that season.
And so, what is the methodology of getting this information to soldiers and getting soldiers to compete?
A lot of it is in their Discord, because that's where our main communication is conducted. We hold meetings in there as well with the team captains. We have, you know, individuals who are talented in their organization skills and untalented in that game, that know what to look for in talent wise and competitive skill. So in there we hold our meetings and we say, hey, this is coming up. These events coming up for your event, or they feed it up to us, the top. You know, what's the two-way communications, saying, hey, Halo has this qualifier down in Texas or whatever. So then we'll like look into it, saying, yep, what's our ROI for this event, and then we'll try to tie that in a way to USREC, and in a way that how can we leverage it in a way that they can go to high school visits as well. You know, bookend the event, saying, hey, you're going to this event in Texas, but you can also go help out. Talk to the high school teams out there, or maybe partner with the high school esports leagues that are down there, and actually just do a small presentation as well of the Army esports.
And so, for people to get involved, you know, is there a process? Is there a vetting process? You know, what does that kind of look like as far as, you know, if I'm Joe whoever.
Interested in playing Fortnite?
Yep.
So the process to enter the U.S. Army esports it's fairly simple. Obviously, first requirement is be active duty, reserve, or National Guard soldier. That's what makes this program unique. Our talent is pulled from internal of the forces. And then join our Discord community. Our Discord community is very active. Our community is in there playing all the time, and that's where all our scouting is conducted at as well. So we'll put out notifications saying, hey, Halo is scouting players this, you know, in 2 weeks, and then they'll join the scouting weekend. It takes them, you know, all the events, going there playing games, and then being evaluated on their skill. And then once they are picked for a team, say, hey, you made the main team. Then that roster is updated on our end, and then we'll start doing memorandum of understanding with the commanders, saying, hey, this individual made the main team for Halo for U.S. Army esports. And hopefully 9 out of 10 times commanders are good on board with it. They see that the give back to the community that it's giving, give back to the forces, and that's what, you know, they're really proud of their soldiers, you know, playing under the U.S. Army banner.
Do you have tips and guidance of, you know, if somebody's trying to make it to that level, you know, what do they need to do?
What do they need to do? Use a common get good, pretty much. we have a very competitive individuals in our Discord. Our guys are really, really good at playing. We have people that are like grandmasters and like champion level players, and it's crazy. In the army, it's soldiers to your left and right. Are professional players, and it's crazy how like sometimes our teams will do really, really well, and then professional organizations will see these soldiers and say, "Hey, who is that soldier? And why are they so good?" And then they're like, "Hey," they'll talk to them, and sometimes they'll make partnerships with those individual pro teams and play with them on their off time, or they get out of the army and guess what? They get drafted into that team, perhaps. That's our goal of our organization. It's not just making ourselves amazing at what we do. It's also giving the soldiers that one step up to help them get seen for their talent and for their competitive skills.
And can you tell me about some of the events that you have going on now, or that you have coming up?
Yeah, like I said, we just got out of the whole COVID slump. We did our online tournaments. Like we have tournaments online currently with Philly eSports. We partnered with those individuals, and they're doing Rocket League tournaments and Valorant tournaments on our behalf, and we have guys playing in those. But big event coming up next week, 28th or 31st of October. We're doing Kumite, which is a fighting game tournament. We sent in 2 individuals to play Tekken and Mortal Kombat. Very good individuals, very top 10% in their games, honestly. To that, then we're also doing Code Bowl, which is our 3rd annual Code Bowl with USAA is sponsoring that event, which is going to end up being Army versus Navy versus Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and as well as 3 branches from the UK Army are coming over to New York City, and we're going to hopefully just run right through everybody at Call of Duty on December 10th. And then this weekend, actually, I'm playing it. I don't know why I forgot about it. Splitgate. It's one of the newer games. It's like Halo, Portal mixed. We're doing a branch battle with those individuals as well, with the Air Force, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard. And I can get off of here later on and practice a little bit and hopefully take them down as well this weekend. But yeah, so that's about, our program does a lot of things with inter branch battles, which is a lot of we started the whole esports military movement. And obviously then Air Force caught on, then Marine Corps kind of was reluctant to do anything with gaming, and now they're on board fully and challenging us in certain games. I'm like, okay. But yeah, and Coast Guard out of nowhere as well, and Space Force, it creates that camaraderie and that inner branch competitiveness. Who takes the trophy home this year, for example. So.
Well, I think that's part of the, so obviously the military has its fair share of grueling days.
For sure.
And, this is, as far as morale building, this is probably, a huge step in the right direction. Is there a way forward? Do you see this excelling to new things?
I do. Kind of being boots on ground of the program, and since the beginning, I see the growth that has happened so far over the past 3 years, and then we're doing more and more branch battles, and that's where I think where we lie currently at is looking forward to the big Army Navy Call of Duty match, for example. And this is kind of why Code Bowl is scheduled December 10th, is right before the big Army Navy game in December. Kind of building on that hype. Where I see military and esports going, I see like a military esports league happening. I see, ForceCom or TRADOC, for example, or I see 82nd, 101st, putting their best up in like an all Army Bowl, for example, and then that'll be the main team perhaps, or just a intramural type of thing that happens at the command level or the post level, kind of like softball or any intramural sports. It'll be an esports held at the post, and those individuals represent 101st, 82nd, first Cav or what have you. And that's kind of on the back burner currently. What I'm working on is something like that, like an esports summit that'll kind of give back to the Army in a way, the community that, you're not on the main all Army team, but this is an outlet for you to come compete, at a nice event, nice production, and then take home a trophy back to, Fort Bliss or Fort, JBLM, and see you next year. So you can hold on to that trophy, perhaps, or maybe you compete against one, something like that. Kind of, that's what he's going.
And ideal scenario, what would you, what do you think commands could do to help endorse this type of program, or are there resources out there available that they can take a team, or they can do things like that? Can you talk about that a little bit?
For sure. I think honestly, in my opinion, it's just facilitation of the time of playing. You know, it's realizing that the morale and looking at retention, for example, you know, if retention is low in a unit, you know, you gotta think of why, you know. But I believe in my time in the esports, I've seen, you know, soldiers re-enlist because they want to keep doing what they're doing. They see the community that we're building around it. I see individuals reach out to us all the time asking, hey, how do I join Army Esports? I'm going to re-enlist and I want my chance at keeping going with something at least. You know, we can't promise you, you know, the option of joining esports when you re-enlist, but we can say, hey, come try out. If you say you're good enough, you might be the team and it makes it worthwhile, perhaps, you know, for another 2 or 3 years in the Army, perhaps you want to continue serving. Command level, I believe, is just, you know, we're open books, our staff is, and we're an email away, you know, or a DM on Twitter. You know, the Twitter DMs come to me. You know, I'm at my team, and we respond to them when we can. Just literally supporting your soldiers' hobbies, and then what I think it'll take is a lot of it, you know, at whatever level it is, IMCOM or TRADOC level, is assisting in the developing those programs at the post level, lead up into the Army level, and hopefully within the next, you know, 12 months, like an Army Summit or Army Bowl would be a thing, you know, where every year they look up to a Commander's Cup, for example, and then, you know, in certain games or round robin different games that they play in, and supporting that.
And what does the Discord community look like? I mean, are you able to see? I mean, is this is it mainly, you know, E1 through E6? You know, do you have, you know, are there commanders on there? You know, are there people trying to engage with their soldiers there? You know,
there's a lot of people on this. It's like I said, civilians as well, hanging out with and then picking the brains of military. People have no clue of military and it's asking about, hey, what does that acronym mean? You know, you said AKO, or you said this, and we'll tell them. And our Discord is by channel. It's kind of like a forum, kind of, right? And you go in there, choose your roles. What games do you play? I play Call of Duty and Rocket League, for example, and you'll see the Rocket League and Call of Duty channels unlocked for you. If you want more games, you can see other channels we're talking in as well. We have a general chat. We also have Ask a Recruiter, Ask a Career Manager. So people in the military need resources or advice. We have people who are career managers and recruiters already in there, help them out. Hey, yeah, doesn't seem right. Or hey, talk to your retention NCO. You know, advice about newcomers as well. Future soldiers is the biggest thing we have in there too. We're trying to get back to those individuals who are just joining the Army, need a niche or find their other nerds, you know, and we're there for them as well. You know, they say, oh, hey, the Army does game, or we're in here in this Discord, and, you know, I'm going to visit training next month, guys. You know, there's been plenty of success stories in our Discord of civilians coming in and gaming with us. And I think maybe like a month or two later, I look in there and see their name and see that, hey, I shipped to basic next week. I'm like, oh man, that's amazing, you know. And to me, it's a prideful thing. It's showing the individuals that saw our community and the wealth of knowledge and the wealth of just the good that's happening in there. And it's like, hey, I'm going to join the Army. Why not? And they do. And they're successful in what they do. And then it's just an amazing thing. But yeah, our Discord community is really, really super busy. We have tons of volunteers in there moderating it as well, helping out. And it just shows that their dedication to the passion of esports, you know. It's their off time. It's their volunteer hours. They don't have to go in there and moderate it, but they do, and they help out and then curate the content.
And can you explain Discord just because you talked about, you know, you can build teams there, and so is it a platform? It's a communication platform, but it works with the games together. Is that?
Yeah, it's kind of like Slack, if you're familiar with that. Let's say it's so Discord in a way is you join, you make a username, obviously in a profile, and then you join servers. So like Army Esports has server, or certain people can make their own server. I have my own server with my friends in it, you know, and people I game with usually. And in there you can make you can assign roles. So those roles are like permissions. It'll unlock certain rule sets for you. You can't post in this channel. You can't, you know, this forum, or you can't, you know, you can post here only, you know. And then there's voice chats in there as well. So people online gaming, they'll join a voice chat and join a game together and just chat while playing the game. And so we do a coordination as well through. It's a very diverse tool. A lot of it is gamer centric, so it ties in. You know, it'll be my name on the side, and it'll show what I'm playing, or if I'm listening to Spotify or something, it'll show, you know, hey, you're online, can I see you? Or your role in there will show you as I'm an admin, or I'm you know, staff member of US Army Esports. So our individuals who are part of their program are predominantly in the very top of it there. So it makes it accessible. People can see us and find us and talk to us, ask us questions about the program.
Okay. Now, so I'm guessing that a lot of the soldiers that are involved in this, there's a lot of streaming and stuff that goes on with
Yeah.
that as well. Um, and we'll bounce away from the the positive side of it, but how do you regulate you know what is being said, and to
Yeah.
keep it as a kind of a safe space per se.
That, yeah, that was a hot topic of contention recently, the moderation. And I think it boils down to that this is a new space for the Army. For DoD in general, it's a new space, and moderation tools that were written and SOPs were written, 10 years ago don't really translate to the modern social media streaming space. So, personally, what needs to happen, in my opinion, is they need to definitely evaluate it for the new space, see how the terms and conditions work for those platforms like Twitch and YouTube and Facebook gaming. But we have individuals that stream on their own channel. They build their own following. They build their own brand, pretty much. And that's amazing for us because, in a way, it feeds into Army eSports. So for a while, we were having our own streamers on Twitch. They had their own following, but then they had their dedicated day and time to come and stream. And what we saw happening was their own community came into our stream and followed us and followed their favorite streamer or their friend on our stream, seeing what they're doing for us. And that's kind of the twofold thing we get, run into as well with ethical stuff with the Army. Is it allowed? If the Army is using it as a brand, are you allowed to bring your old brand off it as well? And what we see it is that it's a necessity of Army esports, or in esports in general. We're trying to mirror the esports model of professional esports organizations or the ones that are established, and that's how it is you have your individual players, like your Michael Jordans, for example, and then they play on the Bulls, and his brand feeds into your brand, for example. But for moderation, we definitely learned through that, and then kind of been fighting back and forth on it. Is where is the line drawn because of the personal attacks on individuals that we had, that definitely affected our program and individuals and our soldiers at a personal level, at esports, at Nox and abroad. So we look at terms of service of Twitch, for example, and we see that, the way it works is we're playing in their sandbox and we're playing under their rules, and we have to abide by those rules. We don't, then we get banned off of Twitch, or we get, pushed off of Twitch because we didn't moderate the chat. We didn't, hold the conversation to being productive towards esports or towards gaming. It just veered off into a tangent. And at that point, we had to kind of moderate and see what do we let happen and what do we not let happen, And for a while there, we pulled off of Twitch for a while because kind of letting it subside. We went on to Facebook gaming, and we went on to YouTube as well, which has been successful. We've seen the esports space moving more towards YouTube gaming than it is to Twitch, due to the terms of service of Twitch and everything going on behind there. But we put on YouTube, we've seen more of a friendly community, more engaging with what we're doing as gamers and as the Army. And then I think it's easier as well for our individual streamers to bring their friends and their followers over into YouTube, because everybody has a Google account almost. Everybody's following somebody on YouTube or has a YouTube account, and it's just easier because the common person doesn't have a Twitch account unless they're a gamer or avidly following someone on Twitch. So it's a little bit more accessible. But I think the future in that lies, obviously, it's just a revision through all DoD wide, and the future of social media and the future of streaming platforms and how to moderate it to appease individuals for their First Amendment rights, of course, but then also the conversation not veering off of what we're there for, which is gaming, the platform that we're on, for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting space, and a lot of things have changed. Over the time that I've been in the Army. I remember 10 years ago, or no, I'll really date myself, but it was probably more like 15 years ago, talking about bloggers, in the Army, and that was a sensitive topic, at that time, and so it's very good that that the Army has, found a way to we'll figure this out as we're going, rather than just shutting it off completely and working through it.
It was a bit of trial by fire, honestly, with that whole that period of time. But like I said, it's based off of blogging. It's if you put a blog out, and your name, but your name's so associated with the Army, you still have to follow those ethical regulations and guidelines. You just can't say, hey, this is me taking my uniform off and talking on my blog. And it's the same with us for our streamers. You know, we've had streamers, you know, like myself, say Nacho is playing on Twitch currently, and then tomorrow I play on my own channel, and I do what I want on my channel, but I'm also still tied to the Army page. You know, there is no definitive, there's no line drawn with your brand and the Army's brand in that perspective. So that's why the Alarak 58-2012, I think it came out, a while, 2018, a while ago. It just covers social media, and of course the command policy as well, kind of be professional at all times, regardless of what platform you're on, regardless of if you're going by your username or going by your rank and name or just regular name, you have to still be the professional regardless of where you are.
Have you had anybody that was reluctant to join the teams because they didn't want to, compromise their brand or whatever?
Not really, because I mean, my team, in a way, we act like a PAO light. Onto that sense, we kind of have been trusted to curate our content in a way. So the way for Stream Team works, the applications would come to my team and myself, and we would go through their old content on their personal channel and kind of say, hey, we don't like a little bit more cussing than we want, oh, they're drinking on stream or they're doing this. And we'll reach out and say, hey, you have really good content. We want you to stream on our channel because you have your entertainment factor is up there. You're really good at your game. You have a large following perhaps. And we just say, hey, man, I want to tighten up these 2 or 3 things perhaps if you can come over to our channel. And people have done that for us. It's been good. There've been some individuals we've had before which have been, they'll get their ducks in a row and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this instead. I'm like, no, you can't be doing that. Then obviously higher up sees it and they're like, hey, why is this guy doing this on his channel? I'm like, that's his personal channel. You haven't put a SOP out about it, or there's no direct line. But it's been growing pains for sure in that aspect, and I think we're currently gonna reevaluate getting our stream team back together for our at-large program now that we've gotten the way ahead on our YouTube, and it's a little easier for us to manage that and moderate that.
So when does the Army send you your free computer when you do this? That doesn't happen?
Oh, no, it doesn't happen. But what's good about it, I mean, if you want to come down to Knox, we have a nice facility with amazing computers and gaming stations and a nice streaming booth, and just the tools to succeed are there for us, definitely, for sure. I mean, we have a kind of blessed in that way by the use threat gods to help us out with everything we needed, be competitive, the tools to succeed. That's what we've been given, thankfully.
Well, awesome. Is there anything that, did we miss anything? Do you have anything else that?
No, not really. Just if anybody wants to know what's going on with the latest happenings of Army eSports, just follow us on social media. Everything's at US Army eSports. If individuals internally have questions about it, you can just DM the pages we've had, and I'll answer their question, or at least route it to whoever can answer it for them. Like I said, our social media has grown exponentially. I think we have some of the most engagements and the highest growth of any, honestly, at the Army page in a long while, because we have our ground, we have our ear to the ground on esports and the demographic we're trying to talk to, for sure.
Now, as far as the demographic that you're talking to, I mean,
yeah.
As far as well-known names go, I mean, is that
yeah.
So that name recognition thing is obviously important on YouTube and on Twitch and these different gaming environments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How are you stacking up in that regard?
They were doing really well. I mean, individuals build their own branding for sure. I've been to a couple of events that they recognize our player. Oh man, there's a so and so from Army eSports. And it's to get a photo with you, and they do. Like, oh, it's cool. You build your own following. That's great. Army eSports comes up to events sometimes, and they show up for Call of Duty or Apex. We have a great team, and they're known in that space. Or the commentators will commentate, oh man, Army eSports is showing up. They didn't realize they had great gamers, and here we are. It's also, I said before in the interview, it's the influencers we partner with. Like I had a chance to meet Dr. Disrespect, and Courage, and Stone Mountain 64 and Alex Zedra. Individuals are big in the space, not just for the competitiveness and skill, but also their engagement with the community, engagement with esports, and definitely helps out build our brand. Not just piggybacking off of them, but it's also doing engaging content that's organic and just feels like a conversation instead of just scripted pieces with these individuals. So that's how we build our brand, for sure.
Awesome. Well, if you want to hear more from Sergeant Camacho, then all you have to do is reach out on social media, and him or one of the other teammates will we'll be there to guide you along. We really appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next competition.
Thank you so much for having me.